Hello everybody. Today we are moving on to dictation of modes. So today is entirely melodic dictation. This is also the first time that we're doing dictation through this. I know that last time I also used the keyboard to sing along with, and there were some minor audio issues, but in any case, we'll have to work with this a little bit. So if there's any sort of glaringly frustrating issues with the audio, I'm doing it live because it's a bit more personal and it can be more like what we do in class, but there's other options. I could do melodic dictations on the melodica. I could also create MIDIs and have the MIDIs through the computer, or I could do a combination. So we'll have to kind of figure it out as we go here. But in any case, today we're going to do 4 melodic dictations. Each one is of a different mode. So let's talk a bit about how we go about doing a dictation of the modes, because I will not be telling you what mode the piece is in. So this is tricky because you're only going to be given, like normal, the duration, the first note, the key, and the clef. Okay? And that's really it. So there's a couple ways to figure out what mode it's in. Okay? And it's not as simple or as immediate as with a tonal dictation. Okay? So in this case, use the given key signature in the first note for context. Okay? So if your first note is, say, a G, and you have an empty key signature, that narrows it down a bit. That narrows it down to where it could be perhaps starting and ending on G in the key of C. So it could be a mixolydian of some kind. It could be a G-based mode where all the accidentals are added in. That's also possible. Or there's other situations too, where, for instance, you could start on the implied kind of dominant of where you're ending up. So, for instance, if you start on, say, let's do G in the key of D. That's perhaps not a great example. Let's do G in the key of E, for instance. If we start on G sharp in the key of E, now that could imply that it's some sort of Phrygian mode. Or that could imply that the G sharp is starting there and then eventually will end up a fifth down at a C sharp, suggesting like an Aeolian. In any case, again, this is all just to say that it narrows it down. Even though that as of this moment we have 7 modes, you probably won't see Ionian really ever. And Locrian you won't see this week. We're only keeping it to modes 2 through 6, okay? So we've got 5 modes to work with. 5 modes actually narrows it down a lot. Okay, because your first note and your key signature, if you can narrow down those 5 modes to 2-ish, to 2 modes, that will really help you narrow down kind of how you're going to be hearing things, because this gets complicated a bit, as we'll see in a second. So, on your first listen, like before we would talk about doing rhythm and contour, listen for kind of the sound of the mode on your first listen when you're catching up with rhythm. So consider what possibilities are and use the sound of the modes as your guide. So for instance, not all modes sound the same just because they're the same pitch collection. A mixolydian or a Lydian mode sounds major in affect versus a Dorian or a Phrygian or an Aeolian, which are kind of more minor in affect. So use that to your advantage. If you think that if you're between, well, it could be, I don't know, just hypothetically, if it's between Mixolydian or Phrygian, but it sounds like it's major for a lot of it, that could be part of it. Don't get too ingrained with this. Remember to always tie it back to what you're seeing on the page as well as what you're hearing. That can be confusing, but in any case, like do you hear, that should be ra to do, not ra to da. Whoops. Do you hear it going from ra to do, for instance? If you hear a ra do, that could narrow it down to Phrygian or Locrian, which we won't have Locrian this week, so that might narrow it down even a bit more. And so and such. So, finally, if there's any sort of accidentals or ficta, which does happen, we talked about ficta a bit last time, worry about that at the end. Final listens. Focus primarily on notes and contour. What's nice about modes is that if you think of them in terms of like a white key context, everything can be basically done by assigning a pitch to a line on the staff. So if you miss some of the accidentals, that's not a huge knock to points. So I wouldn't worry too much about that. And that's basically, I think, all we need to know to get started. So I have 4 planned. What I would like you to do is on your manuscript paper and with your pencil, try to do all of these as I do them. I will give you kind of quiz-style listens. Each of them you'll get 6 listens for. Okay, so this might seem a bit like a longer video, but it really won't be because it's just the listening process of these dictations. So 4 dictations, 6 listens per dictation. They have different measure lengths, but I'll tell you all of that. And in addition, try to keep track underneath, as if you were putting, say, the key signature, try to keep track of what the mode is. So if you determine that this example, and I'll use one that won't happen, if you determine that this example is an Ionian mode, you know, where you would put, say, E major or something on the bottom left underneath the staff, go ahead and put Ionian for you. It'll help you kind of orient yourself, okay? So here we go. Let's go ahead and start us off. So this first one is 8 measures of 6/4. You will get 6 listens for it. Now, 6/4 means that your measures are going to get kind of big and long, but I will tell you that rhythmically there's not a ton going on for this one, so that's kind of a hint for you. So your first note is D, okay, which is right here. Okay, so I'm not going to give you any more than that because it's up to you to figure out what the mode is. Okay, so 6 listens, 8 measures. Okay, 8 measures of 6/4. So I'm going to do this tempo. This is the quarter note. Okay, there's not a lot of rhythmic activity here. Hint, hint. So I'm going to this tempo for the quarter note. Ready? I'm going to give you 5 when we're in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, that's lesson 1. Go ahead and take 15 seconds or so. Okay, there's your first note. Okay, here's lesson 2 of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 15 seconds. Okay. Okay, listen 3 of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so we're at the halfway point. At this point, you should hopefully have the mode. You should have most, if not all, of the rhythm, and working your way on pitch, working probably from the outer ends in, most likely. Okay, so hopefully that's where you're at. In any case, let's press on. So this is 4 of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, listen 5 of 6. If you need any more time, feel free to pause. Listen 5 of 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, let's do one final listen. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so hopefully we feel pretty comfortable about that. That one's pretty straightforward as far as modal music goes. Let's take a look at it, okay? So here we go. This is actually the first example from the chapter, so hopefully you took a look at that and this was familiar to you. I made one performance error in the first measure that I corrected, or pardon me, that I kept consistent, so there's going to be one note off. But in any case, here we go. So this is in fact Dorian mode. We do start on its first pitch, and we end on it, and we span the entire octave, okay? So we begin by leaping from the kind of analogous tonic to dominant, right? And then from there we kind of, it's all kind of just minor E, okay? The first time that we get any real hint of anything modal is in that third measure, when we leap from, let's do it in this way. So if we're in C major, for instance, we leap from Re to La, okay? Then we go to Sol, and then we go to Do. And then we go to T, right? If we're thinking of this in terms of Do-based modal kind of solfege, Do up to Sol, up to Fa, up to Te, La, right? That B natural is really what gives away this Dorian sound, okay? From there, it's mostly stepwise, which is nice. We then leap up to Do again, or up to Re, rather, whatever system you prefer. And then we skip down to B, and then up to C, right? So if you did those skip exercises I suggested on Monday, that should be a familiar sound to you, right? And then we eventually go back down to Do, and then we just work our way back up, and then we work our way back down again, okay? So hopefully not too bad. Dorian, when people think of, culturally the sound of medieval music, for instance, a lot of times that is just Dorian and fourths, and so on. So that's what people hear as medieval music. But in any case, for our purposes, hopefully that went well for you. So that was dictation number 1. Let's go ahead and move on to another one. Let me just turn my page over here. Okay, so here we go. This next one, also 8 measures. Okay, this one's in common time. Starts on F, okay? And you'll get 6 listens for this one as well. So 8 measures, 6 listens, starts on F. Here it is. Okay, so, and this starts right on the downbeat. Okay, this isn't a pickup or anything, so this starts right on the downbeat. Actually, pardon me. Yeah, okay, good. I made that clear before. Anyways, here we go. Starts right on the downbeat. Okay, this one's a little bit more rhythmically active, so I'll go a little bit slower for the quarter note. Okay, ready? 1, 2, ready, go. Take 15 seconds. Okay, so more rhythmic activity, but as you may have gathered, mostly stepwise, so that works in our favor. Okay, this is lesson 2 of 6. Okay, hopefully you got a lot of rhythm on that one and got a couple ideas as to what the mode is. Let's try to figure out the mode on this listen, codify our rhythms, and start adding in some more pitches. Okay, so here we go. Lesson 2 of 6. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, let's do 3 of 6. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, so we're halfway there. Hopefully you've got the mode pretty figured out. Hopefully you've got all your rhythms taken care of, and hopefully pitch is starting to make more sense. Okay, so this is 4 of 6. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, 2 listens left. 5 of 6. 5 of 6. Here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, 6th and final listen. Here we go. Okay? 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, hopefully you've been able to finish up your thoughts a bit, and hopefully you've got a pretty good idea of what that one is. Let's go ahead and take a look at it. So, this one is in fact Lydian, okay? This one is tricky because it really hovers in the upper part of the mode, and it really only starts and ends on its final pitch, okay? So that's what's a little bit tricky about this one. But the first two measures I think are the dead giveaway, right? You've got kind of the do, mi, fi, sol, so to speak. Or if you want to think of this in C, you've got the fa, la, ti, do, right? And everything else is pretty stepwise and pretty relaxed and groovy. You know, we start and end on C, and then we come back to B in the middle there. But hopefully this one wasn't too bad for you. Rhythmically, it was a little more active than the last one, but still nothing too crazy. So that's Lydian, okay? We are at 2 of 4 dictations, okay? We're halfway there. Let's go ahead and continue on. So here we go. Next one. 8 measures, 6 listens. This is the downbeat. This starts right on the downbeat. 3/4, okay? Your first note is A. Okay, starts right here. This one's about on the same level of rhythmic activity as the last one, okay? So 8 measures, 6 listens, okay? Okay, this is going to be our quarter note for the first couple listens. Ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, ready, go. Hopefully the keyboard's coming through okay for you. Go ahead and take 10 seconds on that one. Okay, here's A again. Okay. This is listen 2 of 6. Listen 2 of 6, okay? 1, 2, 3. 1, ready, go. Okay, here we go. 3 of 6. 3 of 6. We're nearing the halfway point. Hopefully you've got a couple ideas, if not a solid understanding of what mode we're in, and hopefully you've got a lot of the rhythms. Okay, so here we go. Just 3 beats of prep this time. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so we're halfway there. Okay, let's go ahead and continue on. This is 4 of 6. Okay, I'm going to leave us a little bit less time in between now, and hopefully we're starting to get it. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, 3. Take about 5 more seconds. Okay, let's do 5 of 6. Here we go. Again, if you need more time, just go ahead and pause in between, but hopefully we're getting a bit quicker, more adept at this. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Okay, here we go. 6th and final listen. Get ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, so let's go ahead and talk about that a little bit, okay? Turns out that the first note is the same as the last note, which indicates that it's going to be some kind of A-based piece. In this case, it's A Aeolian, okay? So, it's like the key of C major. Now, this gets tricky in a couple spots, okay? That third measure you got, that almost sounds kind of Dorian in a sense. If you're not careful. And then in addition, the 5th and 6th measure, that sounds kind of like major. Okay, it sounds like Ionian almost. So be really careful. This one's deceptively tricky. It spans also an interesting range because we start at the top and then work our way downwards. Which, for whatever reason, people seem to have a harder time with descending intervals and descending scales than they do with ascending scales. So, in any case, this one is in fact Aeolian. So, hopefully you got that, or at least got most of that. Again, if you need any additional help with this, just whenever you need to, just feel free to reach out. So, let's go ahead and do one more. I know we're getting in time here. Let's go ahead and do one more, okay? Here we go. So this one is 16 measures, and I'm going to give you 8 listens. Now, the reason why I'm giving you 8 listens is because it's 16 measures of 2/4, which equates to the same thing as 8 measures of 4/4, and rhythmically, not a lot going on, hint, hint. So, I wouldn't worry terribly too much about it. So here we go. Your first note, this is on the downbeat. First note is a D, okay? You see your key signature there. You see your time signature. You should be good to go and everything. Okay, let me just make sure I can see. There we go. Okay. So, this is going to be our quarter note for the first couple times through. Ready? 1, 2, ready, go. Okay, take 15 seconds. Okay, here we go. 1, 2, listen, 2. realized I made a critical mistake here. In any case, let's go ahead and actually, we had one listen of that. Let's just go ahead and take a look at this one. We'll end this one a little bit early here. So I also realized I made another mistake. I put 8 listens instead of 6. In any case, here we go. So this one, Rafe Vaughan Williams, this is from your book, Mixolydian. The first, almost half of it, really doesn't give away at all what mode it is. It sounds kind of major, and the key signature reinforces that. Only at this point do we get any sort of difference from an Ionian major sound, right? So, yeah, this one, again, I don't think there's that much to this one. Rhythmically, it's pretty straightforward, and luckily there's no ficta or anything to worry about. But this is an example of what I mentioned earlier, where sometimes the modes will be in the key that they're borrowing from, and sometimes they won't be. In this case, it looks like it should be in D major, but it's actually D Mixolydian. It's just Vaughan Williams decided to just put the natural sign everywhere he needed to for Mixolydian. So, sorry to cut that one so short. I made a pretty crucial error on the second time, and I don't want to keep you terribly too long. So, again, if you ever need more practice on this, just feel free to let me know. I can always, happy to do office hours or anything. But again, all of these I'm taking from the book this week, so you have all the tools you need. With that, let's go ahead and talk about where we're going next week. So, next week, we're continuing with modes for one more week. After modes, we're going to move on to something completely different that we've been building to all year. I will look for other repertoire for modal music next week. It won't just be folk music and Renaissance or classical music. I'll try to find some repertoire in other places. We'll see how much time I have and how successful I am in that regard. But in any case, also I'll try to give us some Locrian. We haven't gotten really any Locrian yet, and Locrian is quite interesting and difficult in a way. So we should definitely do at least 1 or 2 examples of that, even if they're just singing, if they're not dictation. Your homework for this weekend should already be posted to Gatrospace. It will be a transcription project from repertoire. At the time of recording, I haven't made it yet, but that should be posted now. And that will be due Monday, April 6th at 10 a.m. So if all goes well, this video was posted on Friday, April 3rd. So in any case, that should be your timeline. So that's it for week 1. Again, if you have any questions, let me know. Hopefully this is all going well for you. If you have any comments about the piano, there's always room for improvement. This thing is not great, and my setup isn't super optimized for that, but I like the piano because it allows me to demonstrate things more easily than doing MIDI. So let me know what works best for you. I'm happy to play around with it. And if you have any suggestions, I'm receptive in these trying times. So in any case, that concludes it for this week, and I will see all of you next week.